Ooh, what's up, nerds and geeks? My name is OMG WTF LOL FTW Welcome back to more Total Extreme Wrestling 2016. We are playing as the WWF in the year 2001, but more importantly, we are booking the invasion angle. Now, I'm sure you guys have noticed this by now, unless you're just in a different tab or something, but we're actually on the home screen. Well, this isn't the home screen, this is the loading screen. This is the home screen, but we're actually on the loading screen, and there's a reason why. It's something I wanted to go over with you guys just real quick. So yesterday, when I was about to book Raw with my buddy Chris, like I always do, instead of, double-clicking Invasion right here, which you just double-click the game in order to start, I don't know what I was thinking. I must have been high off my mind or some bullshit, because I pressed game recovery. Don't know why. I don't even need to be down here. Like I said, it does make sense, but I pressed game recovery, and to even make matters worse, I don't want to press it now just in case I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure when you press game recovery, it asks you if you're sure you want to do that. I could be wrong again, but if it did, I also pressed yes, because in my mind it was, yeah, I want to start my game. So whenever you press game recovery, it takes you back to the beginning of the week. Now, I wouldn't be too mad about that if maybe, the game counted Monday as the beginning of the week instead of Sunday, which is really the beginning of the week in real life as well. So it resetted me back to beginning of Sunday, which meant that I needed to rebook the entire invasion, or not invasion, I had to rebook the entire SummerSlam event again. Everything is the exact same. I literally went on my YouTube channel and just copied everything from times to what I could remember, and I'm pretty sure I had everything pretty accurate here, with maybe a few little changes. Now, of course, some matches did better than it did in real or in the actual video. I believe, for instance, like one of the angles, for instance, maybe not matches, but Farouk winning the Hardcore Championship from Bradshaw did better than it did on the recording. But there are also some matches and angles that did worse. For instance, Lance Storm and Regal, I believe, was one of those matches that did better. For instance, a match that did worse, was pretty unfortunate, was Benoit and Kurt Angle, which we got an A on that in the recording, but in the rebooking, it got a B+, which is unfortunate. Other than that, Austin and Triple H still got an A grade for their match, so we still ended up ending the pay-per-view on an A. Unfortunately, we didn't get the perfect star like we did in the recording, so this wasn't a perfect show like it was in the recording, but I'd like to imagine that the recording is what happened, and this was just my mess up, so we're going to go with the recording here. Let's try to ignore the whole rebooking thing. I just want to let you guys know ahead of time. That way, if I ever show like the top 10 matches or top 10 pay-per-views or anything stupid like that, you guys won't be confused as to why SummerSlam, instead of having an A star, now only has an A. So, thought I would just let you guys know that. Other than that, I really don't have much else to say. I just remembered I wanted to book one thing in real quick, so we are actually going to do that on camera real quick, and it's just going to be a generic angle anyway. It's not going to be anything that I wanted to, like, type in like special dialogue for and everything. And I'll explain this once we get to it. Yeah, I'll explain this like once we get to it. But as of right now, we're just going to kind of put it in here. And you guys are probably going to get a little bit of a preview as well. Ooh. Let's just take both Jerry Lawler and JR off of here. So I'm thinking I'm going to put this... Let's put it right here, and then let's go ahead and run the show. So, yeah, like I said, I'll just get to that when we get to that. So we have, I believe, two pre-show matches, and this did a lot better than I expected. So this was kind of a test as well. So in a pre-show bout that had subpar wrestling and a little heat, Rey Mysterio Jr. defeating Gregory Helms with the Springboard Hurricanrana. The reason I booked this match is, A, it's a little bit of a preview for something that'll be happening on SmackDown. I guess I'll spoil it now to kind of hype up SmackDown. But we're going to have Gregory Helms is basically going to get his rematch since he's the former Cruiserweight Champion. And Rey Mysterio, of course, being the new Cruiserweight Champion. So I kind of wanted to test them to see how they would do. But not only that, I wanted to kind of get Rey Mysterio more familiar with a lot of the a lot of the fans. Now, guaranteed he is on the pre-show, so only the 24,276 people in the Palace of the Auburn Hills, or not Palace of the, but whatever, know who Rey Mysterio, or doesn't really know who Rey Mysterio is, but are a little bit more familiar with him now compared to the entire world or the global audience that we have on TV. But it's a way to, kind of slowly introduce the audience to Rey Mysterio in a way. Why not? But they got a C. That's actually pretty impressive. Rey Mysterio had an in-ring performance of a C+, a whole grade over Gregory Helms, who had a D+. I say that a lot, and I'm going to try to, whenever I say a whole grade, I'm going to start trying to mean, like, for instance, right here, where he D+ to C+, if that was like a C-, it technically isn't a whole grade. It's just like 1 point up. So I'm gonna try to say that a little bit more often to be a little less confusing. What? I'm gonna have to go back real quick, nerds and geeks. I need to double check to make sure. No, there was another pre-show match. What the freak? Okay. Anyway, I guess we skipped it somehow? I don't know. Still got a C. Still impressed. And Rey Mysterio is also getting better as a gimmick, so I guess I can't complain there. I don't know what the hell happened. Either way, in the main event of the pre-show, we get a B-, and about that had decent wrestling, but not much weight and heat. Not Team 3D, I guess that's more TNA. The Dudley Boys, Spike and Bubba Ray and Devon, defeat Team WCW, Lance Storm, Canyon, and Hugh Morris in 11 minutes and 44 seconds when Bubba Ray Dudley defeated Hugh Morris with a powerbomb. So Morris had an in-ring performance of a C, Canyon had a C+, Lance Storm had a B, the best performer in the match. Spike at a C-, and both the Dudleys at C+. So Spike's at a C. He's the lowest, but honestly, I believe he's either an opener or a lower mid-carder. To me, that's kind of impressive. So, good on you, Spike. So now we can move on to the start of the show, which got an A, so that's awesome. Still, it had an A before, we had to go back and double-check something. But it's still getting an A. That's pretty cool. So I imagine before Monday Night Raw starts, we have kind of like a recap video showing what happened at SummerSlam. And then, once that recap video is over, SummerSlam starts off with Ric Flair and the WWF Intercontinental and new WCW United States Champion Chris Benoit making their way down to the ring, of course. Once they're in the ring and the booing stops, Ric Flair takes the mic. And I'd also imagine Chris Benoit dressed to impress here. I mean, he's now kind of like, which we'll find out in this angle, he's now kind of like the protege to Ric Flair, what Kurt Angle was before, yada, yada, yada. So now I'd imagine him being, fine dressed, kind of like Ric Flair would be, looking real smooth, like he's the next Nature Boy, basically. Either way, Rick says to this, he goes, thanks for the warm reception. Since last night, all Chris has been asked is, why, Chris? Why? Why would you turn your back on the WWF? Why would you join that handsome son of a gun, Ric Flair? Well, I'll tell you why, and it isn't a hard one. Chris joined up with WCW to be managed by the best, and that's me. But you know what? You guys shouldn't be asking, why, Chris, why? Because that's obvious. What you should be asking is, why, Nature Boy, why? Why would you take an Olympic gold medalist under your wing as your protege just to turn on him and embarrass him? Well, since you asked so kindly, I'll tell you. Because you want to know why? Because Kurt Angle sucks. I saw the writing on the wall weeks ago with that joke. Now Chris Benoit, Chris Benoit, he's got style. Chris Benoit, he's got class. He's got everything that I require in my protege, to put it simple. Moving on to up here. And then he says, to put it simple, he's the best. And that's when Kurt Angle's music hits, and he makes his way out to the entryway, and he says, whoa, 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 cut the music. Flair, I'm going to kick your ass. You made me look like a joke last night. You played me to be a fool. Rick responds laughing, you're going to kick my ass. My ass, Kurt. No offense to you, Chris, but, Kurt, if you can't beat Chris, what makes you think you can beat me? What makes you think you can beat the best? And that's when Kurt responds, oh, trust me. I'm going to get the Chris, but you know, you and I, Flair, you and I have unfinished business. Ric Flair, still laughing, then says, Kurt, how many times does Chris Benoit need to beat you in order for you to finally realize that you're not on his level? And then I'd imagine Chris Benoit starts, whispering in Ric Flair's ear, and Ric's like, yeah, oh. Well, you know what, Kurt? We have an alternative for you. You see, you don't get to face the rabid Wolverine in a one-on-one match, but you can face him tonight in a 2-on-2 match. That's, of course, if you can find a partner. And Kurt says, all right, you're on. And then Rick says, well, of course, that's a big if, though, Kurt. I mean, let's just, say, if/when you don't find a tag team partner, you still have to face Chris and his partner in a 2-on-1 handicap match. And then Kurt says, please, everybody loves me. And besides, even if I couldn't find a partner, I can beat you both with one arm tied behind my back. And that's when Rick responds, oh, you thought I was going to team with Chris. You don't even deserve to lace my boots, let alone share a ring with me. No. Tonight, you'll be facing Chris Benoit and the WCW World Heavyweight Champion, Booker T, baby. Woo! And I'd imagine that pretty much being the end of that angle. Nothing. Maybe Kurt would say something like, fine, you're on. I'll find a partner, blah, 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 blah. I don't know. Imagine him just saying something. Pretty much the entire angle here is to explain pretty much what happened at SummerSlam. SummerSlam. And in case you guys didn't watch the episode, go watch it. It was great. But if you haven't watched the episode, spoiler report coming. Obviously, this would have been a spoiler report either way. But for a long time now, we've been teasing both an Angle and a Kurt Angle turn. And it finally accumulated last night with Ric Flair officially turning his back on Kurt Angle in that last man standing match for both the Intercontinental and United States Championship and aligning himself with Chris Benoit. So basically what happened is we had the rare double turn. Kurt now is a face, and I guess he's still on the WWF side, but we'll kind of see something leading up from, throughout the night there. But Benoit, who is a former, WCW World Champion, has, a lot of people should know this, but he had a very storied career over there in WCW, is now the protege. Ric Flair has taken Benoit, kicked Kurt Angle to the side, taken Benoit under his wing as his protege, and pretty much this is just them coming out explaining what the hell just happened, why Benoit joined up with Flair, why Flair turned his back on Kurt Angle, pretty much saying, Kurt sucks. A little bit of a jab, considering everyone likes to chant, you suck, at Kurt during his entrance anyway. And, pretty much just playing up what just happened last night. So everybody was off script here. Chris Benoit, of course, wasn't rated on microphone at all or entertainment, so we didn't have to worry about him. So Kurt and Rick were both off script here. Kurt worked the crowd really well, using his freedom to improvise to his advantage. Rick, on the other hand, he did just normal, nothing too special. It did get us off to a hot start, and it also gained the Benoit Angle storyline some heat, which is still kind of happening. So we move on to our next segment, and it's just the announcers putting over that indeed later on tonight we will see the WWF Intercontinental and WCW United States Champion Chris Benoit teaming up with the WCW World Champion to take on Kurt Angle and a partner if Kurt Angle can find one. We move on to our first match of the night, which I'll be honest, I was not expecting a B. But either way, an bout that had decent wrestling but not much weighing heat, Farouk defeating Hardcore Holly in 8 minutes and a second with the Dominator and making his first defense of the Hardcore Championship. If you remember last night, Bradshaw did defeat Kanyon for the Hardcore title, but Farouk made his return, and since it is 24/7, which is mainly why the Hardcore Championship is on the line as well right here, since it is 24/7, Farouk captured the Hardcore Championship. So I'm assuming that this had a lot to do with this getting a B rating. Could be wrong, but I'm just saying my assumption. We'll probably check the dirt sheet after this. But Farouk and Hardcore Holly have great chemistry, and it showed in their performance. So that's a pretty good, yeah. Also, Farouk had the in-ring performance of a B- to Hardcore Holly's C+, so just a point between the two. And Holly's improving in performance. Moving on, we then go to a B-. Farouk then picking up the mic after a successful title defense. And he says, I bet a lot of you people are wondering exactly what the hell you just witnessed last night. You know, I've had a lot of questions being asked, and I'm here to answer them. First things first, I've been asked this non-stop since SummerSlam. Are you now a part of WCW? Did you jump ship? And to answer that question, you're damn right I did. And you people can go ahead and boo me all you want, because I don't give a damn. Because as far as I'm concerned, WCW is the only company that has given a damn about me. I'm a former WCW World Champion. But not only that, I'm the first ever African American World Champion in professional wrestling in its entirety. No one before me, many after me. So you think when Vince McMahon hired me that he'd bring me in, make a big deal out of a history-making superstar like myself. But instead of that, he gives me a bright-ass blue helmet and calls me the Gladiator. You've got to be kidding me. I'm a history-making man and you're going to make a fool out of me? Let's go ahead and pull this up real quick. And he says, just as I was starting to gain steam as the leader of the Nation of Domination, which was my damn idea, just as I was starting to gain some steam, Vince McMahon decides that The Rock is the bigger star, and he takes away my spot, takes away my leadership role, just to give it to him. And to make matters worse than that, after all that, they decided to make me a drunk. A damn drunk. That's when Bradshaw's music hits. He makes his way down to the ring. He takes the mic, of course, he's talking while he's down to the ring. He says, Ron, come on now, Ron. You can't tell me that you look back at the times that we've spent together, the friendship that we've shared. You can't be telling me you look back at that as just being some drunk. Come on, man. We've had some good times. Drinking, kicking ass, drinking some more, getting in the bar brawls. You can't look at that and see it all as a waste. Farouk then responds, Nah, man. Our friendship is one of the only good things to happen to me in this company. I don't regret any of the times we've had together. But you ask me if I see it as a waste? And you know what, maybe it's not a waste, but more of a demotion. Like I said, I'm the first ever African American World Champion in professional wrestling history. And now I'm here. You know what? Last night, despite what it may look like, John, it was nothing personal. I had your back like I always do. I came out here and I made sure Hugh Morris couldn't poke his nose in your business. But you know what? No matter who won that match between you and Kanyon, I was walking out hardcore champion. Didn't matter who. Just so happens you were in the wrong place at the wrong time. Bradshaw then responds, and you know what, Ron? I don't hold it against you. In fact, I wasn't even mad. I wasn't even mad. The Hardcore Championship is 24/7. You know what, if anything, I thought it was funny. I thought it was funny, you coming back, beating me for the Hardcore title. I wasn't mad. I thought it was funny. You pulled a quickie on me. But man, you don't need to join WCW, Ron. You don't need to join them. You got me still. You still have the APA. Come on, let's just go to the back. Let's go to our office, open up some, cans of beers, play some poker, and let's talk about this. Let's talk about this, man. And then I'd imagine, Farouk sitting there looking at the Hardcore Championship, thinking for a bit, and then he just goes, "You know what, John? I'm done talking. I'm sorry." And he just decks him with the Hardcore Championship, pretty much laying him out, and he stands, posing as the Hardcore Champion. So again, similar to the angle with Ric Flair and Kurt Angle here, this was pretty much just to explain what happened last night and why Farouk turned his back on Bradshaw, which he did. He has officially joined up with WCW, and it's pretty much out of bitterness. He looks at it like, in WCW, I was a star. I was a world champion, the first ever African-American world champion. Here in the WWF, I went from being a gladiator to the leader of the Nation of Domination, just to be kicked out of that group by The Rock, pretty much. And then he went on to become, like part of the ministry, but pretty much then he looks at it like, and then I just became a drunk. What happened to when I was a star? Did get the crowd hotter. That's actually pretty cool. No worker improvements. And I just remembered, I forgot to check the dirt sheet for that title, or that, not title match, that opening match between Farouk and Hardcore Holly. So either way, just explaining what happened there. I've actually been looking forward to this Farouk angle. I just like it a lot. Wow. We go on to an A segment, nerds and geeks. An A segment, and we see Edge and Christian. They're backstage talking, and we start in the mid conversation, and Christian starts off. He says, all I'm saying, bro, is last night, while I was wrestling for championship gold at SummerSlam, you were too busy on Heat teaming up with the duds, facing the right of losers. And then Edge goes, "Yeah, well, at least I won." And then Christian gets, he's angry and he looks like he's about to say something to Edge. But then Kurt Angle walks in and Kurt says, "Hey guys." And Edge and Christian both go, "Hey Kurt." And then Kurt responds, "Hey, did you guys hear about tonight? Ric Flair thinks that I can't find a tag team partner to face Benoit and Booker T. Anyway, so which one of you won?" Edge then replies, "I did." Christian goes, "Shut up." And then Kurt says, "Cool, so it's you and me tonight then, Edge." And then Edge goes, "Ooh, I thought you were talking about who won last night. Yeah. I actually can't team with you tonight, Kurt. I ate some bad sushi." And then Kurt goes, "What did I tell you about going there, Edge? It goes right through you every time." You know what? Whatever then. I guess it's just you and me now, Christian." And then Christian goes, "Ooh, I forgot. I gotta take the kazoo to the cleaner." You understand, Kurt. You've always got to have a clean zoo. And then Kurt says, you know what? Wait a minute. Why does it seem like you two are trying to avoid me?" And then that's when both of them kind of, are just like, we're not trying to avoid you, Kurt. And then I'd imagine them coming up with another thing. I couldn't finish writing here, and I just, like I said, some angles I'm always like, I'll just cover it when I record it. And I imagine, maybe Edge, like, acting like his phone's ringing. He goes, "Oh, it's Mom. We got to take this, Kurt. I hope you don't mind." And then they, walk away while Kurt's just kind of sitting there all like, what just happened? So Kurt Angle asking Edge and Christian to be their partner, or his partners, didn't go too well. Apparently Edge had some bad sushi. Christian had to take the kazoo to the cleaners. Their mom called, but something else seems to be going on here. Unfortunately for Christian, he did perform poorly here. And here's a little bit of a spoiler, but Lance Storm's next opponents are going to be Edge and Christian, as we can see with this storyline right here. My bad. Also, Kurt Angle working the crowd to his advantage, as always. This got an A rating, though, which, honestly, I'd imagine it did. Or it really would have. Everybody was unscripted here, so I'm not sure if that's why Christian performed poorly. It says that it doesn't say that he didn't do well without a script to follow, so I'm not entirely sure what this means in general. It just means maybe he performed poorly. Either way, though, every man was off script here. Kurt Angle, of course, using it to his advantage. Edge and Christian apparently... Edge and possibly Christian, I should say, didn't really affect him too much at all. But, yeah, I'd honestly expect an angle between these three men to get an A in real life anyway. No worker improvements, though. Moving on, we see Stacy Keibler backstage along with the Natural Born Thrillers, and she is not happy. And she says, "What the hell happened last night?" You know, don't even bother answering that, because I know what happened. You two failed, and I don't associate myself with failures. So if you two want to keep my services, then tonight you're going to have to show me something that'll make me want to stay. Now go out there and make an impact. So we get a C rating here for Stacy just pretty much berating Palumbo and O'Haire for losing the tag team titles, or the WCW tag team titles last night, and pretty much telling them that if they want her as their manager still, they're going to need to impress her pretty much. Moving on, we then go to a B. Wow, this did pretty well. As well. I'm trying to figure out how to say that sentence. B rating. Wow, that's pretty impressive. And about that had decent wrestling, but not much Wayne Heath. The new WCW Tag Team Champions, Jeff and Matt Hardy, defeating Chronic when Matt defeated Brian Clark with the Twist of Fate Swanton Bomb combo. Of course, Jeff and Matt have excellent chemistry together. Unfortunately, there's a lack of psychology, so it drifted a little bit. Jeff got an in-ring performance of a B+, Matt had a B, and both members of Chronic with a C. Jeff is also improving in technical. Moving on, we then go to a B+. Vince McMahon, he's backstage in his office when we hear a knocking at the door, and in comes Mick Foley, and Mick Foley says, "Hey, Mr. McMahon, I heard you wanted to see me." And I don't have a drink with me, so let's hope my voice doesn't give out, but... Yes, come in. No, Mick, Mick, remember when you came to me asking if it was possible for you to cover Monday Night Raw while someone takes over your commissioning responsibilities over on Thursday Night SmackDown? Well, I think I found just the right guy. Really? That's great. Who is it? Sir William Regal. And then Foley responds, Well, he's not a bad choice, but he's got a great mind for the industry, but he's not really well liked." And then Vince responds, "Neither am I, but I'm a billionaire." Foley then goes, "Well, I can't argue with you there. How about this, Mr. McMahon? How about this week on SmackDown, we let him commission the show, and we see how he does. And, if he does well by the end of the show, then we'll make a decision, and we'll sign the contract if he gets my approval." And Vince just kind of nods his head. "Oh, all right, well, I'll draw up the papers, and I'll let Mr. Regal know." And then I imagine in camera just going off there. So pretty much, if you remember from SummerSlam, Regal offered to take the position as the new commissioner for SmackDown since Mick Foley wants to spend more time with his family. Vince told Regal that he would talk to Foley about it. He just did right there. Foley kind of wants to, see how he does at first. He said Regal's not really that, he's not really well liked, so let's let him run this week's SmackDown, and if I think he did a good job, I'll sign off on it, and he'll take over SmackDown for me. And that does start the Regal Commission storyline, as we see right there. Moving on, we go to a B+. This did really well. Also, I am going to be editing tests a little bit, but I'll get to that when I get to that. So we see the Brothers of Destruction, Kane and The Undertaker, the WWF Tag Team Champions. They're backstage in their locker room when we hear someone knocking at the door, and Taker goes, "Come in." Just simple, "come in." In walk Test and Albert, and Test says, "Hey, we're not here to start a fight. Actually, we're here because of what happened last night. At first, I'll admit, Albert and I, we didn't really like you two. We kept hearing about how you two were the big dogs, that, you were the team to beat, and we wanted to beat you. But after last night, after us four went out there and we put on one hell of a contest, Albert and I have nothing but respect for the both of you. And well, like I said last night, we killed it. You know what, I'm going to come out and say it. We were this close to beating you two last night. And we were thinking, well, how about we do it again tonight? Then Taker, he stands up, kind of, getting in the face of Test a little bit, and he goes, last night we went to war. And last night, you two earned our respect as well. Not only that, but you also knocked on our door before coming in. So tonight, you want us to make you famous again? Then we'll see you out there. And then imagine Taker, extending his hand, Test shaking it, and that confirms that we will see a rematch for the WWF Tag Team Championships tonight between these two teams. So Trish did help Test during the segment. Apparently the announcing by Jerry Lawler was pretty weak. Interesting. Albert performing poorly in this segment. That's okay. Kane came out looking excellent, as did The Undertaker. So we'll notice here that both Albert and Test are hinting at face turns. They didn't get much of a reaction because fans realized it wasn't their strong suit. Test is bad at being a face. I think it said like he's just bad in general. I mean, we can even see here it says the fans don't recognize that it's not Albert's strong suit, but they recognize that Test is simply bad at playing the role. We are going to improve that by a little bit, not by much. I'm probably going to put him about the same as Albert and see where they go from there. This face turn could be the worst thing I've done for them, but at the same point, I really like it, and I hope it goes well with what I'm planning. We then go to an A. We saw me book this, so I'll explain it right now. Jim Ross just pretty much, it says he's hyping the upcoming match, but the way I'd imagine this is he's going over and he announces that later on, or, unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, the WWF champion Stone Cold Steve Austin and his challenger from last night, Triple H, won't be here tonight on Monday Night Raw. So real quick, I just wanted to do a recap of what went down last night between the two superstars. So pretty much just Jim Ross kind of going over what happened and, stating that both of them aren't going to be here. Not really much to this angle, like I said before, just a way to... I felt bad. I mean, this is the show after SummerSlam, so you would think that I would have Triple H and Stone Cold on this show in some way, but unfortunately, it's not unfortunately, I didn't want them on the show. I didn't have them to really do anything on the show. I kind of wanted this show to be kind of the explanation of Ric Flair and the Kurt Angle thing, and a lot of things that did happen while highlighting some new storylines that are going to be happening. And I just didn't really have an idea of what I wanted to do with Austin and Triple H as of right now. So this was my way of covering that. That way the fans technically wouldn't be mad. Oh, okay. I guess I'm not that mad. This got an A, though, so that's pretty awesome. Wow, we got another B. Like, every match tonight's been a B. And another B, and a decent match that got a B rating. Diamond Dallas Page defeating Al Snow in 5 minutes and 31 seconds. These guys got a B in a 5 minutes and 31 seconds match. That's impressive. 5 minutes and 31 seconds when he beat him with a diamond cutter. Just a way to get DDP on the show, really. Diamond Dallas Page got an in-ring performance of a B to Al Snow's C. So a full grade over him. And no worker improvements, as we just saw. So we move on to the next segment, which gets a B+. Ignore that Al Snow's here. He's not rated on anything. He's just kind of laying on the mat. DDP takes the mic after his match, and he says, "Oh, Rocky, you may have beaten me at SummerSlam, but you and we're not done. Oh, we're not done by a long shot. I can promise you that." And then he kind of just throws the mic on the ground, and he sees Al Snow just laying there again. He picks him up, looks at the hard cam, plants Al Snow with a diamond cutter, just kind of sending even a further message to The Rock. So he did come across well, but it did lose the Rock and DDP storyline some heat, which that's fine. It wasn't much of anything. We then move on to a B. I didn't really write anything down for here because it was more of a I didn't really need to. I figured I'd just explain it. It was more of just a recap. Vince McMahon coming in saying, I talked to Mick Foley, and then Regal being like, oh, what did he say? Well, on SmackDown, you'll get your shot, yada, yada, yada. And that being that, nothing really too special here. Unfortunately, William Regal underperformed, but that's fine. Got a B, so I'm not tripping. And then in another match that got a B, wow. I'm really going to look at the show afterwards and see if every match got a B, because I have a feeling every match got a B. So far, at least. Maybe the main event won't. And a bout that had great wrestling and a decent reaction from the crowd. The Brothers of Destruction and Test and Albert have a draw following not double countout. Don't know why the hell it chose to do double countout. I think I made it pretty obvious for you guys, but whatever. I guess I have to spell everything out for the game. And a double DQ, pretty much. We see, as you can see, it says Chuck Palumbo ran in and attacked Taker while O'Haire attacked Test. So the way I'd imagine this happening, if you remember from earlier in the night, Stacy Keibler told the Natural Born Thrillers, you two need to make an impact. Here it is, them making an impact. We see a WWF title rematch between Taker, Kane, and Test and Albert. And just when the match is getting good, I think they did better last night in their pay-per-view match now that I think about it. I think they got a B+. Could be wrong. But either way, like I was saying, the match was, it's going good. Everybody, it's back and forth action when the Natural Born Thrillers come running in, and Palumbo and O'Haire attack both illegal men at the moment, which was Undertaker and Test, giving a double DQ, causing the match to end with no clear winner, while, they make their impact, as we said. So Trish did some good work ringside, as she always does. Test and Albert's face turn's not going too well, but at the moment, Kane had an in-ring performance of an A, Undertaker at an A star, Test at a B-, and Albert at a C+. So Albert was the weakest, Taker was the strongest, and it started our WWF Tag Team storyline. Kane is improving in performance, and Albert is improving in technical. No, they're not turning yet. Oh, wow. We then go to an A-star rating, a perfect angle for this right here, or perfect rating for this angle, I should say. We see Rock and Chris Jericho, they're backstage in the locker room, maybe getting dressed or working out or doing something stupid. No real reason as to why they are. They're bickering back and forth, and similar to the Edge and Christian thing we heard earlier in the night, it starts in the middle of the conversation, and Rock says, "It doesn't matter how you try and twist it, Jericho. Last night, plain and simple, you lost. And, may I add, you lost because you weren't paying attention. At least when The Rock lost, it was because someone got involved. The Rock should be the one to face Booker T next." Jericho then replies, "You think you're so much better than me, don't you? You think you're so great because these people chant for you. Newsflash, Dwayne, there's millions," and I'd imagine the fans going, "And millions of Jerichoholics out there, too, baby. And what makes you think you deserve a title shot?" Rock then goes, "Last time The Rock checked, he won last night, while your shoulders were pinned to the mat." "Oh, big deal. You beat a grandpa. You want a cookie? A Fig Newton? You beat up an old man, Rock. Not much of an accomplishment. I'm facing Booker T next." And then we see, both Jericho and Rock kind of get in each other's faces until we hear Kurt Angle say, "Hi, guys." And then they just turn and they see Kurt standing there. And Rock responds, "What in the blue hell do you want?" And then Jericho says, "Yeah, Kirk, what do you want?" "Well, I couldn't help but overhear you two talking about how you both want Booker T in the ring. And, well, tonight, I've got booking a tag match. So I was thinking," and then Rocky puts his fingers up to Kurt's lips and he goes, "Shut your mouth. The Rock knows exactly what you were thinking and what you were going to ask. And let The Rock save you time by telling you that there is no way in hell that The Rock would team with you after what you did." And then he just walks off, and then Kurt goes, "All right, well, what about you, Jericho?" And then Jericho just looks, he goes, "You just don't get it, do you, Kurt? Nobody in the back is going to team with you. Not if they have a brain. teaming with you, that's career suicide. You jumped over the WCW, and now you're expecting the WWF to welcome you back in with open arms just because Ric Flair did what Ric Flair does? You know, I meant it when I said it, Kurt. You're just another Benedict Arnold. And then Jericho walks off while Kurt just stands there kind of in a, disbelief, and maybe it's starting to hit him. No one's going to team with me tonight because I turned my back on the WWF. So Jericho, Rock, and Kurt were all unscripted in this. Jericho did a masterful job improvising, while both Rock and Kurt worked the crowd well. So I'd say Jericho did the best in this. Also, Rock looked good. Also, my phone just vibrated. Sorry if you guys heard that. That was actually pretty loud. No worker improvements, though, but what do they have to improve on? Yep, every match, I think, got a B tonight, Nerds and Geeks. And then in a B rating, our main event of the night, in a superb match, Booker T and Chris Benoit defeating Kurt Angle in a handicap match when Benoit defeated Kurt by pinfall. Now, I think I put it in the... By the way, our Wild Brawl match, I don't know if I mentioned it, but our Wild Brawl match was... I think it might have been Taker, the tag team title match. Don't quote me. I forgot. I should have showed it off. But this was our storytelling match of the night, and I kept Kurt strong. So I'd imagine Kurt giving both these guys a run for their money, but the numbering game catching up to him sooner or later, which gave Chris Benoit the pin over Kurt Angle. Got a B rating, like every other match tonight, I think. Both Kurt and Big Show had an in-ring performance of a B+. Benoit, though, at an A. You go, Benoit. It did lose this storyline some heat, unfortunately. Kurt Angle's improving and flying. Interesting. Either way, we end the show on that, and we got an A rating. Don't know how. That kind of surprises me, but A rating for the show, not too bad. Increasing our popularity in 15 regions. Now, I want to see if every match got a B for sure. Yep, that's a B. That's a B. B. Yes, every single match, minus the pre-show matches, got a solid B grade tonight. That's pretty interesting. Oh, look, Mickie James. When she was known as Alexa Larvey or whatever the hell her name was, I forget. Feedback from viewers has been awesome and it's been getting fantastic reviews. And Rikishi's fully recovered. Aw, Mr. Fuji's retiring. And apparently Vampiro is politicking his way in the CMLL. Mae Young's retiring. And people are high on D'Lo Brown. Good thing I own him. Oh, he's the HWA Heavyweight Champion. Good for you, D'Lo Brown. Let me check your title history real quick. 3-time HWA Heavyweight Champion. He's also been a 4-time European Champion, even though that says WCW and Canadian Championship. He's in developmental, which eventually will bring him up, to be honest. Rhino's returned from his suspension. Rikishi is fully fit. And Farouk says, Bryan Adams is too clumsy, in my opinion. He's going to end up hurting someone badly. Duly noted, Farouk. Let's go ahead and do an auto push. That way Rhino will get on the roster. What is he, by the way? Out of curiosity. Not Earl Hebner. What the hell? He's a mid-carder. Okay. I want to check out the storylines before we end this off. So B+, B. I forgot that started. Technically, it shouldn't have started, but whatever. It's mostly because I have Christian and Edge who are not aligned with each other, so that's why it started. I got a B-. This hasn't started. Spoiler. B, A star, B, and a B-. Well, all right then. So that's going to be the end of this episode, Nerds and Geeks. I hope you guys have enjoyed. If you have, do me a favor. Leave me a comment, like, and subscribe if you have enjoyed this video. And as always, don't forget to share this video with your friends, Facebook, and Twitter to help the channel grow. It's greatly appreciated. And my name has been OMG, WTF, LOL, FTW, BRB. And I will see you guys for Thursday Night SmackDown. But until then, you Nerds and Geeks have a wonderful day.